Welcome to A24 Quest episode 5. We just watched The Boss Baby. Thankfully, we don't have to talk about that in this episode.
Yet.
That will be in the podcast. It won't be here, so don't worry about it.
So we're in a bad place, but we're going to go somewhere better.
Yeah.
We watched 2 movies this week. Which one do you want to start with?
It could be either. You know what? Most weeks we watch like 2 movies and one's like... I've noticed it's always like one's definitely better than the other. But this week is great because I don't know which one I preferred and I liked both of them. You want to just start with Lefty Brown because that was the first one I watched?
Me too. Yeah, let's start with the Ballad of Lefty Brown.
Sweet. So, the Ballad of Lefty Brown was an interesting one for me. Going into it, I was sort of, I don't know. I wasn't expecting a lot because I saw the trailer. I was like, this looks kind of okay. This looks like a generic Western. And then as I was watching it, I was like, well, it's kind of like True Grit a little bit. But by the end of it, I was liking it. Really liking it, in fact. It took a while for me to get into it. First of all, the Lefty, the actor who plays Lefty, Bill Pullman, is a very acquired taste in this movie, I have to say. At first, I was like, is he like seriously the protagonist of this movie? Because he's so uncharismatic and so inept at everything.
Yeah. And I understand that that's the idea of it. Yeah. Like, that's the whole point, is that he's a sidekick and now he has to become kind of this hero of sorts.
Right.
But it doesn't feel good.
Yeah, for a while I was like, we're just watching this vaguely crazy weirdo wander around the frontier and getting into like hijinks.
Getting into shootouts with just about everyone.
Yeah. And I was like, okay. But like by the end of it, he won me over. I was on his side by the end of it, but it takes quite a bit for him to get like the least bit likable.
Mm-hmm.
So that is kind of a barrier to entry. But all in all, I thought this was a pretty solid Western. There are maybe 2 things holding it back, in my opinion. The acting, like, wasn't consistent. There were some good actors, some really not good actors.
I agree.
The kid was kind of eh.
I didn't actually like Bill Pullman as far as his acting goes.
Right. He's I think what I said about him in our Discord group was he's believable but not charismatic, not likable. He's believable. I seriously, I think he did a good job at playing just this like kind of lazy frontier weirdo, like old crazy guy.
Yeah,
I believe him in the role. It's like I'm sure guys like this, like exactly like this, existed in this time. So yeah, no, he was good in that sense, but it's like, again, it's just kind of hard to empathize with him for a while.
Mm-hmm.
I really liked... I don't know if it's just because I love Scottish accents, but I really loved the wow, what was his name? I
always forget the actor's name, but he's also in Sons of Anarchy. He's really good. I like him.
This Scottish dude, the like other hero, and that plays into like a positive of this movie that I'll get to. He was really good. I liked him in this. But yeah, some of the actors were like not great. The like ultimate villain at the end of the movie was kind of eh.
Yeah,
that's like, I don't know.
That was a bummer.
It's kind of hard to like hate him because he's just so like bland.
Yeah. As far as the story goes, I wasn't incredibly impressed. Like, I wish there was more to it.
Right. This movie does this weird thing where it feels like the 5th film in a series, but it's like a standalone. Like, yeah. It constantly refers to events that we've never seen, and it's like the past adventures of all the main characters. Yeah. It's like the last act of like a long story condensed into one movie, and where we just kind of have to imagine the rest.
Which is all right, but I mean, the story, the pacing was slow enough where you could have definitely put more stuff in there to keep it more interesting, to have more interactions, and they just didn't.
Yeah.
Instead,
I liked the concept of the movie.
I did too. Instead, they had a lot of nature porn, though.
Yeah, I was getting a strong The Revenant vibe from this movie. It felt like The Revenant if The Revenant was more of a traditional Western, because some people call The Revenant a Western, and I was like, no. And then I thought about it. I was like, well, technically it is. It's technically a Western, but this is The Revenant if it were more standard Western. And I thought it was going for a Revenant angle. The first shot of the movie is a quote that talks about how harsh the wilderness and how harsh the frontier is. And it cuts directly to this really gritty, dark scene of somebody getting killed in the dead of night. And I thought this movie was going to be a rip-off The Revenant. I thought the whole idea about this movie was Lefty is going to be just stranded in the wilderness and fighting to reach civilization. And that's not really what it was. It was more of a True Grit type situation. But I liked it. The overall premise of this movie is there's this group of 4 heroes, Western heroes, kind of, who are way past their prime. They had really good, escapades in the past, but they're kind of, one's an alcoholic, one's always been this incompetent idiot, and that's Lefty. And one's kind of a corrupt politician, and one who is the last of the heroes, who's still this heroic, cool guy. He gets killed, and what Lefty is trying to solve his murder and hunt down the person responsible. It's a cool idea. And that was my favorite thing about the movie. Every time it does interesting things with that concept, I was way into it. Mm-hmm. It was not nearly the best Western I've ever seen, but it was pretty decent. I would probably watch it again.
Yeah.
Despite its flaws, but
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good. Give it a watch.
Yeah, definitely check this one out. If you like Westerns, that is. I feel like I'm a little biased because I love Westerns. I was just happy to be seeing an A24 Western, and I hope they do more.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, for sure. Do you have anything else to say about it?
I always love the style of Westerns.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I don't know
this
what it is.
This movie's really stylish.
I know I've said that before. It's something about all the little accessories.
Yeah.
It gets me.
Right. Yeah, no, it's very...
I don't know, man.
Feels pretty period accurate. It's very stylish.
Any clothing from that period of time, it just interests me.
For sure.
So movies like this, movies like There Will Be Blood, movies, in that vein, where everyone's wearing, just intricate clothing. I always zoom in on that. I don't know what it is.
Yeah. Maybe you should become a costume designer. Specifically for Westerns.
I'm the one and only Western costume designer.
Yeah. Howdy.
Ooh, howdy.
Yeah. When did this film take place? I didn't really look it up. It kind of I think it's
said right in the very beginning, and I didn't catch it.
I think it's late 1800s, because they talked about John Wilkes Booth and the assassination of Abraham Lincoln at a certain point, and that happened mid 1800s, right?
I'm not a history man.
Me neither. That's why I'm asking. I'm going to say 1800s. This film takes place.
You have a lifeline. You can call someone.
I will call my friend, his initials G-O-G-L-E. He's got a long name. He's German.
See, I was really hoping you would actually just call your father or something.
Yeah. 1865. So, yeah, this movie came out... This movie takes place in the latter half of the 1800s.
Can we still just call your father?
Yeah.
Okay.
When did Abraham Lincoln die? Just to test him, because I now know.
He's 1892, and you're just nope.
Nope. Chuck Testa. Anyway, remember that joke. We're getting off topic. So, check it out. Ballad of Lefty Brown. Super good. I liked it. But okay, so after I watched Lefty Brown, I was pretty happy. Right? I was like, that was better than I thought it would be.
But
Yeah. And then as like the following morning, I got up early because me and Josh had to watch Boss Baby before recording, so I had to watch A Most Violent Year before he got over. So I just woke up really early, and so I was already peeved that I was waking up really early. And then I had to watch A Most Violent Year, and I was not expecting to like this movie. Excuse me. A hiccup came in the middle of that word. I was not expecting to like this movie one bit. You have to understand. A24 has not had a good track record with crime thrillers. This isn't really what I call a crime thriller, though. But that's neither here nor there.
I would.
I suppose it's got crime and it's kind of thrilling in the latter half of it, sort of. And it started off. And there's a lot of talking. I was like, ugh, it's one of these. But you know what?
Hey, remember when he was talking to that Jewish man?
I do.
That sold him.
Yeah. That sold him. That sold him.
Yeah.
Right. I ended up absolutely adoring this film. In fact, it's really good, honestly. I looked into the IMDb rating afterwards. Unsurprisingly, it's not super low, but like this wasn't well received by general audiences, and I can see why. It's 2 hours and it's a lot of talking.
There is some poor pacing decisions, but other than that, this movie, is really good.
My only real complaint about this movie is that it feels kind of slow at times, like unnecessarily slow.
Mm-hmm.
But when this movie's interesting, it's really interesting. And honestly, I got hooked and I was really engaged and I ended up loving it.
The very first scene that actually really hooked me is they were in their house going to bed, and then all of a sudden the dog starts making noises, and he's just walking around this house, and it's just silent.
Yeah, it was like straight out of a horror movie.
Yeah.
It was, and I was like actually tense.
Do you remember the movie The Gift?
I do.
That's exactly
you and
what
I
saw
The Gift in the theater when it came out, right? Yeah.
Yeah. That's exactly what I was thinking when I saw this.
Yeah, it's similar to The Gift.
It was freaking me out,
Speaking of comparisons, there's a foot chase near the end of this movie that reminded me a lot of the foot chase in The French Connection. I think it was a little better in The French Connection because that's like one of the best chases I've ever seen in a movie, but just a little thing I noticed. A little, probably, inspiration there. This movie, I don't even know where to start with it. Well, basically, Oscar Isaac, Jessica Chastain, and Albert Brooks are all phenomenal actors. And that helps a lot. But the writing is way better than most of these like kind of lesser known thrillers on A24 movies. This feels like something this feels like a Scorsese movie in the sharpness of the writing, and it's super impressive, honestly.
The dialogue that ended up, the language that was used in the dialogue was really, really well made. It was like on par
and
with.
It's elevated by like little flourishes by the actors, I'm sure, but it's super well made.
I wouldn't say it's quite Quentin Tarantino levels of natural feeling narrative, but it was really good.
Yeah,
it's definitely up there in one of the best feeling movies as far as the narrative goes.
Yeah,
or the dialogue goes.
Oscar Isaac was amazing in this movie. Like, seriously, this is probably one of my favorite performances I've seen him give.
What else have you seen him in?
Well, like Ex Machina, Star Wars, Annihilation, Drive.
I forgot he's in Drive.
I think that's about it. There's probably some I'm forgetting.
Yeah. This is on par with Ex Machina because I really liked him. In Ex Machina.
Right. He was great in Ex Machina, but this is a very different character. In Ex Machina, he's just this kind of like unhinged, like insane genius type person. In this, he's kind of you really feel for his character because he's of Latin American descent, and he's trying to run a business, and he's trying to be honorable, and he's trying to be like this legit businessman, and he doesn't want to become a gangster. He even says that. He's just like, I've spent my whole life trying not to be a gangster, but it's like he finds himself in this rash of crime and corrupt dealings, and he's just trying to keep a level head, and he's trying to keep his honor intact, but it's like it becomes increasingly difficult, and it's very, very captivating. So yeah, no, this film is a lot. I wouldn't call it fun, but it's a lot of care went into this, and it shows. It doesn't feel like just a lazy, like, generic thriller. It's a very, very good movie.
His character just becomes so well developed, like, over time. I mean, you talked earlier about not in the podcast, but earlier today, about the scene where he is teaching two individuals on how to conduct business.
Yeah.
And that scene is just very good at showing, like, okay, so this man has worked in this field. He has done this before.
Yeah.
He knows what needs to happen, that you need to believe in your product.
It's a fantastic scene because it's just like Oscar Isaac has such command of the screen, and he's so efficient and intimidating in that scene, and you're like, he knows what he's doing. He's like, it sells him as a respectable character.
As a boss?
No. I'm gonna cry. Can't believe you've done this to me.
Anyway, I absolutely love his character.
For sure.
There's this one of my favorite scenes actually is later on. He ends up taking all of the businesses that are within an area that could be stealing his oil, because that's what's been happening. Is these guys keep taking his tankers when they're on the move, and then they take them, they empty them, and then they drop them off somewhere else.
Yeah.
But there's this great scene where he takes all of the heads of the businesses that could be stealing his oil, all of his competitors, puts them into one room, and then he just shows up, and then there's a guy, and he's like, hey, we talk to each other. Nobody's taking anybody's oil. I think it's somebody else. Yeah. And then he just walks in, and he's like, let me tell you something. No. Stop.
Yeah. He's like, he is not having any of it. And I had that reaction when I was watching it. I was like, ooh, wow.
That was good.
It reminded me. Look, it reminded me of Daniel Day-Lewis in There Will Be Blood. I mean, that's a pretty lofty comparison, but it's like it had that energy to it where he's just like so above everybody else. Yeah, it's like, yeah, I like it. I love it, honestly.
Yeah,
it's a very good film.
That was one of my absolute favorite scenes.
Yeah.
He just basically walks in, says stop, and then leaves.
No, and what was he says is just like, have more pride in your work, you know, like you don't have to sink to this level. And it's just like just absolutely shaming everybody, and he's totally justified.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah.
Well,
yeah, I totally agree with him.
Right below that, you have my second favorite scene, which would be the barbershop. Yeah. The last time he goes into the barbershop, which I'm not going to say a whole lot about it.
Because that's a little spoiler.
Again, he has that amazing command over literally anyone he wants to. Like, he just has that presence. It's really cool.
And he's a nuanced character in the sense that, like, sometimes he doesn't have that command over things. Sometimes he feels really helpless, like in the scene with the deer. And sometimes he can't do what he has to, but it's like he's there. It's not inconsistent. It's just like it's two sides of the same person.
Yeah.
And
and anytime he has to deal with his wife, it gets very interesting because she's a part of his business, so he has to treat her as a business partner, but then also as a wife.
Yeah, right.
And so there's this kind of conflict in between personal and professional. It ends up being really, really cool to see.
and you know, without giving anything away, his wife doesn't like to play by the rules like he does, and it's like
because her dad's a gangster,
right? Yeah, and it's a good dynamic, and you know, I really liked Albert Brooks in this. I really liked Jessica Chastain. She did a really good job. As usual, she's a pretty good actress. I've never really disliked her in a role.
I mean, but the only one we're actually going to remember, though, is Oscar Isaac.
Oh, yeah, Oscar Isaac steals the movie, I think.
He was so good. Like, everybody else falls by the wayside when he walked on screen.
Yeah, really.
Which is kind of unfortunate because they did a good job.
Yeah.
But just doesn't compare.
Yeah.
It's like anytime... Like, when you talk about There Will Be Blood, first thing you think is Daniel Day-Lewis.
Right, yeah.
You don't really think about Paul Dano.
I mean, I do to a certain extent, but I get what you mean.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, There Would Be Blood really steals the... Daniel Day-Lewis really steals the show.
The movie steals it.
Oh, yeah. He steals everything.
Steals all the show.
That movie stole my heart. Which is not even a lie. I had a heart transplant, and the only one available was just...
See, I was hoping you'd drop it, but alright. We're going with this bit.
Yeah.
Great. So how was your heart transplant last week, Colin?
Pretty well.
Who'd you get a heart from, Colin?
Nobody. It stole my heart, like I said.
Oh, how about that?
It was just like, I was just like, where'd my heart go? There's just a DVD of There Will Be Blood in the corner with my heart. And the doctor's like, we can't do anything about it. Legally,
it has it.
Legally, it owns your heart now. So I was like, man, how can I speak? I have no heart.
What?
Speaking of having no heart, The Boss Baby was released.
I am legitimately confused with what you just said.
I'm saying the executives had no heart.
Uh-huh.
They had that concept pitched to them.
Yeah, but why are you bringing this up?
Because it's still on my mind.
Okay.
A Most Violent Year was
good.
This is the first episode where the question of verses is kind of relevant because it's typically a no-brainer. But in this one, it's less of a no-brainer, but I'm still going to have to go with A Most Violent Year, I think, of the two.
I think I am too.
They're both good, and I think you should watch both of them. But if I had to pick a favorite, it's definitely Most Violent Year.
Mm-hmm.
Only real like disclaimers is it's kind of slow. If you're typically bored by movies that are just like people talking about business for like 2 hours with occasional action,
get yourself a nice stiff drink and loosen up a little.
Yeah, right.
Sit down and watch it.
Preferably whiskey. Nobody really drank in this movie, did they? Not really. No.
There was smoking.
Yeah. I think that about does it.
I think so.
Time to choose our next movie.
I thought you were going to give me a high five.
I hope the mic picked that up. That was the absolute worst high five I've ever given in my life.
It wasn't a high five.
High five's a relative term. They still call it a high five when like it's down low.
I saw the down low. Or a low five.
Low five. I'm just killing time because I'm opening up the A24 list to see what's next.
I thought we were still recording.
No, we are.
Oh, we are.
No, I should have just said we're not and see what came out of you.
You know what'll come out of me?
No.
Oh.
Okay.
So what are we watching, Colin?
Son of a Gun.
Son of a Gun.
Starring Ewan McGregor. Is that how you pronounce it? I don't know. Obi-Wan Kenobi. Brenton Thwaites and Alicia Vikander. No, that's it.
I know, but and?
Julius Avery.
No, I mean, and the other movie.
Oh, I have to figure that out.
Oh boy.
It's my turn, right?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Alicia Vikander was the...
We're not just watching her.
Yes.
Not.
Alicia Vikander was the robot Nex Machina.
Oh, cool.
Ties it all together. So...
That's pretty neat.
That one looks... I've never heard of it. Don't know what to make of it.
That one looks... I've never heard of it.
So, I gotta pick a second one.
You do.
Should I go with this simply because I want to see it? Or should I pick a more interesting one?
That one's all up to you. You gotta watch them both sometime.
Yeah. I'm thinking... Here, I'm going to point at it, and you give me a yes or no.
All right, the point. Ooh.
I really want to see that
I
one.
really don't want to watch Tusk again, though. I know you loved it.
I kind of screwed myself there, making it audio only. No, I was pointing at a ghost story.
See, I'd love to see that, but you pointed at Tusk.
Okay. Fine. I admit it. I just want to see Tusk again.
Oh.
Do you want to go with a ghost story?
Yeah, let's do a ghost story.
A ghost story, I've been meaning to watch it for a while. Looks really pretentious and artsy, so it's definitely... And it's about a ghost, so it's like all my favorite things.
Pretentious artistic ghosts.
Yeah, for sure. It's a shame I didn't like... what was it called? Personal Shopper. Because it has all three of those things, and I didn't like it, so...
So maybe you won't like this.
Probably not, no. Hey, look, if you live life negatively, if something positive happens to you, it's a better surprise than if you live life positively and something negative happens to you. You know what I'm saying?
I mean...
Expect the worst, hope for the best. No, expect the worst, hope for the best. Ghost Story, 2017. Check it out, along with Son of a Gun. I think that's about it.
I think that's about it.
Wait, there's one more thing to talk about.
Oh my god, what?
One more thing. I'm going to read off a article that pertains to this. The founding partner of John Hodges... A24's... One of the A24's founding partners, John Hodges, is going to exit the company.
Exit the company?
Yes, he is leaving.
Why?
Don't know.
Oh.
Let's see if I can see in this article here. The news of Hodges' exit was abrupt, but one source said the move has been in the works for some time. The company offered no additional details other than to say his vacancy would not lead to any additional changes in management, meaning that A24 is going to continue to release movies. And but yeah, a big respect to one of the guys that got this company off the ground, because it's been producing some very, very interesting movies.
I wonder why.
Not producing, distributing, but whatever.
I wish I knew.
What?
I wish I knew why he was leaving.
Yeah, it may come out in time. But,
hey, John Hughes, did you assault?
John Hodges.
Did you assault someone?
Probably. I mean, in this current wave of politics, that's entirely possible.
You're just getting out ahead of the scandal.
Yeah, exactly.
Who knows?
So
what's your guess?
My guess is he ate one too many Pringles in the office break room. And they fired him.
My guess is he said something incredibly racist by the water cooler. And they couldn't say okay to that.
Right, yeah.
And so they're like, okay, you got to either quit or you got to put out a public statement.
Yeah.
About what you said. And he's like, oh, well, I can't do that.
Well, he decided not to put out a public statement, but he did put out Moonlight, and then La La Land won Best Picture, and they're like, wasn't good enough.
I think that about ends this episode.
That's about it for this one.
That was pretty good.
Check out both of the movies, and all four of the movies. Check out the two we talked about, and check out the two we're going to talk about. Watch 4 movies. That's your homework.
Yeah, we're going to be talking about Boss Baby. You should watch it.
Yep. Check out the podcast for some hot Boss Baby action.
Oh, God, I wish you wouldn't have phrased it like that.
See you guys.
And the worst part is that the movie actually knows that it's hot Boss Baby action. Like, it's not even hiding it.
It's really uncomfortable.
Oh,
it really is.
Anyway, we'll talk about that in 5 minutes.
See you later.
Bye.